I have sort of a special announcement to make. I've been earning so much money on YouTube that I believe I need a tax deduction. See this hat I got on? Well, I got another one right here, still in the wrapper, that I want to give away. If I get 100 comments on this video, I'm going to have my wife select at random 1 through 100, and we're going to get in touch with you and give you a hat. I don't know if you want one or not, but we're going to give you one anyway. Let's get into today's episode. Part 2, working in the restoration of this little office. Ought to be fun. Seen that hammer? All right. Carry on. Plenty long.
Huh?
Plenty long. I've got to take the time to get this thing right. Okay.
You'd think you'd be getting pretty close to starting to do some stuff permanent.
I know it. I won't ever have time. .21-inch ash slab that air dried. I don't know how long it's been cut, probably 4 months. Let's flip it over. You know what?
Every time you say that, I never know what.
If we had a drop cord out here and circular saw and chalk line, we could just go ahead and,
Cut it out here.
yeah. Well,
All right.
I mean, still got to be cut, whether we cut it in there or cut out here. I'm sort of trying to stay with the grain, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not cutting the blue line.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cutting the edge of the blue line. Hold down on that. Well, I'll just adjust it down where the red line's hitting, right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Psychologically, it's a little bit scary because you're pushing a blade right towards your hand. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You see that blade comes out where that red line is. And I got a mark on here and a mark on there, and so, see this red mark right here?
Mm-hmm.
I'll put that right there with that mark. I'll hold it down with this hand, and then squeeze the trigger and press it in. And it makes that nice little groove. So your biscuit, your holes are nice and flat and level.
Well, do you want to test them before you put glue in there?
No.
You know it's right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you was doing it for the first time, that's what you probably would dry fit it, and then you take your little brush here. You won't get glue all over everything, you know. That's a really good way to get splinters. And ash splinters are painful. This is a special biscuit hammer. No, it's not. It's just the hammer that was closest to me. I found this hammer in a trash can. That's one. It's not the best joint I've ever seen, but you know, that is the back of the desk, so it'll work. Another one tomorrow. Shouldn't take long because we got everything done now. And we actually can probably glue up both of them tomorrow. And might even be, well, we got to cut some legs, but we got plenty of materials for legs. So we'll see you tomorrow. I think the kid went a little bit crazy here. I don't think there's any way under the sun that Kubota 2502 is going to pick this up. I just wasn't thinking. Probably going to have to restack it. And I hate that because my help is not with me today. I'm shocked. And I'm going to tell you, I'm really surprised. I don't remember exactly the lifting capacity of this L2502 Kubota. I know that was one of the complaints with some people that I watched videos before I purchased this machine, that the lifting capacity was maybe not as good as others in its class, but I'm gonna tell you what, that right there is a stack of lumber. I don't know what it weighed, but I mean, that's a stack of material right there. And to be that wide, that much weight out toward the end of the forks. So now we're going to dig out these pieces of ash, rip them down, plane them, and make them for well, the face plate of the desk. That ought to be as much fun as a barrel of monkeys. So what we're going to do with these, we know we're not going to have anything that's longer than 8 feet. So we're going to cut the ends off, rip them down like 2 1/8, then plane the edges, plane the faces. If we can make them all 7/8, we will. They may have to be 3/4, and won't take many, but going from rough sawn to a finished piece of material that you can use on a cabinet, you know, is a little bit of work. So let's just get to the little bit of work. So that's how I make 2-inch face plates. And you know, you always want to make them, when you're in the rough saw stage, you want to make them longer than you're going to need. And them look pretty good. This is the plywood we'll be using. I think that's going to work. Time you put a sealer on it, you won't know one of them's ash and one of them's maple. We got to get 3 things at Lowe's. Telling myself so I'll remember: a saw blade, baseboard, and a piece of plywood. Got a piece that's tore up. I can probably get that for a discount. I'll take a picture of it and go up to the pro desk and see what they'll do. We got her loaded up. That blemish on there, they were very kind and gracious. Gave me 50% off on that, so win-win all the way around. All right, let's go make some cuts. Well, we got cabinet 1 done. Cabinet 3 will be pretty much similar, exactly like that. Then the other cabinet will sit over here. So anyhow, get her stained and polyurethane and put together. Won't make any sense till we get it in. Not sure it makes a whole lot of sense to me. No, I think it does. But hang with me and we'll try to get it. That's all for today. I'll see you in the morning. Well, good morning. I guess you're getting weather too. It's raining like cats and dogs here. And I think a lot of you guys north of here getting snow and cold, and it's just been a winter to remember, hasn't it? We're back in here on the cabinet build. We got one cabinet done, and all except for painting and staining and whatever we're going to do there on the finish. So I'm going to try to get started on the, I'm not going to try, I'm going to get started on the second side and then the cross member. And this thing should be, we should have it all built this morning. And then if I can get my painter and stainer down here, get that done, because the kid just doesn't like to paint. Just some of the features of what we're trying to get accomplished. Okay, so what we're looking at here, this is upside down, obviously. And these legs here, to give you knee room, they're about half the distance out. They have a piece, you can see, that's mounted on the tops of them, which will screw to the underside of the desk, like so. And then in between them here at the back, there'll be a 2x2 on the wall that carries the weight as well. Another one here on this. And then this is at the end of the desk. Got a little bit of an offset, so it's not just, I think it'll look cool. Not flush all the way out at the end. And then we're using this ash nosing. It's going to be stained. And it turned out nice. So that's sort of the gist of it. This is maple plywood. And I'm using these little, what they call them, trim head screws. My nail gun, my brad nailer, is up at the job, so I don't have it to nail this. And really, quite frankly, I could just clamp them and glue them and put a few brads in them if I had my brad gun with me. I've got a pneumatic brad gun I could use, but I'm not going to use that. But these little screws, man, they hold. And with this ash, it has a bad tendency, especially with a brad nailer, for the brad to want to jump out. Sort of like a fish hook, you know. Just do like that. And then you got to deal with that. And so with these screws, I mean, I could just use 6-penny finishing nails. That's how we nailed them on most of my life. But anyway, I like these little trim head screws. Enough yapping, let's get to work. Now this here is just a little suggestion. If you're doing a nose piece, you're going to be staining it, not putting laminate on it. You try to get it as flush as you can with your plywood. And if either or is different than the other, you want your nose piece just a frag hair higher than your plywood. You don't want it the other way around. Because if you do, you're going to cut into that veneer, and it doesn't take long and it's ruined. And then, once you get it on there, and you putty your joints, if you have any cracks left over, then you want to go with a orbital sander if you have one. If you don't, you can do it by hand. Start with a pretty coarse, this is a 40 grit, this is an 80 grit, and then this is a 180, which I'll finish up with. And whatever you sand, whatever you finish up with, what grit you have, that's what you want to have on all your pieces, because the sand marks will stain differently if you use a real coarse sandpaper. It's also going to feel different, but it will take stain differently. And then you got your good hole. It's just a good way to prevent tear out. I'll show you what I got. This is approximately 24 feet of desk and legs to go in that office. This ash is beautiful. We're putting a walnut stain on it, thinking that's going to contrast good with the gray flooring, the light gray walls, the white acoustical ceiling. Well, I have been informed that the stain part of this project has been completed. That looks good. Looks good. Looks good. About 2/3 of a quart did this job. We'll let this dry for at least about 8 hours, and then we're going to put 2 coats of clear gloss, Minwax, and then install. It just takes a while, okay, when you're doing a cabinet shop. But I tell you what, if I didn't know it wasn't oak, I'd say it is. But that's ash. Boy, it stained up nice. Well, it was my full intentions that part 2 was going to be concluding with installing this cabinet in this office, getting the baseboard in and wrapping this thing up. But with all that we've been through, as you can probably see, we're not installing cabinets at the conclusion of part 2. But I can almost promise you, in fact, I can almost guarantee you, at the end of part 3, the cabinets will be installed, the sink will be plumbed, the baseboard will be down, the trim work will be painted up, and we'll be wiping our hands of this job for my buddy. Now I got to go get some firewood, because my buddy Dave asked me, he said, have you got enough firewood? And I told him, yeah, I think I got plenty, but bottom line is, no, I didn't have enough. I mean, we're right here at the end of February, and typically, March, we start, the temperature in central North Carolina really starts moderating, and, you know, not much need for a fire, but the way things look, we're going to have some more cool nights, and so I got to go get up some wood. Listen, I appreciate you joining with me on part 2 of this build, and I know it's been sort of random, and honestly, I don't even remember what all we've what are we going to be looking at until I get in the office and start trying to put this thing together. I really don't know. I mean, it may be such a hodgepodge, nothing to even work out. But if it does, then it might be something that you've enjoyed watching, and I hope so. And we're going to get it. Going to get it. This is just, if you have any construction experience, you know that along the lines, especially in remodeling, the homeowner or the business owner may have an original idea, and they give you maybe a ballpark scope of what they're wanting to achieve. And then as you get into it, the homeowner or the business owner starts looking and they start seeing things, and they want to make changes. Now, if you have a contract priced on the thing, the changes sometimes would require an upcharge because they're going to cost you time and materials. And sometimes the changes are because of stuff that you've done, and I don't normally charge for that if it's something that I have control over. But in most instances, in fact, I'm blessed and fortunate to say that in 99.785% of the people that I've worked for over the years, we've had happy customers. If you give somebody a good product at a good price, what's not to like, right? And fortunately, in vast majority of instances, I can think of 2 instances where I've worked for people and they've disappointed me. And I've tried not to disappoint them. Anywho's, I'll see you in the next one.